Horizon Frozen Wilds is a new expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn. Liam Mckelvey, that's true, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And you've played it?
I have played it. It's a pretty good expansion pack, if I do say.
Very good. Okay, so it's kind of a 15 quid job. It came out on the 7th of November for PS4, and it's kind of just a pretty bog standard DLC expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn. Slots into the full main game, doesn't it? It's like kind of interwoven quite, it's basically a series of side quests or something, is it?
Yeah, so to activate it, you just you go to the main city, like the Sun Palace, if I remember right, and you just you talk to a guy. He tells you of this mystical land in the north, like isolated from society, and he tells you how to get there. And you go, you climb up this mountain. I suppose it's kind of like disguised in the loading screen, I guess.
Yeah.
But then you're in this completely new territory that's just like bolted on top of the northern part of the map.
Okay, so in terms of the story setup and stuff, how do they kind of justify this? How is there just another bit of land that you can get to? How do they justify that?
The way they justify it is it's like an ancient land. There's a tribe called the Banuk who live there, but nobody really knows who they are. They kind of keep to themselves. They're very isolated. But there's a character he's trying to open up a trade route from the main map into this new territory.
Yeah.
And so you start off like helping him try and win over the local Banuk tribe and open up trade. But then you go into this whole thing of like you get involved in their ritual. There's like a corrupted machine going around. They believe in this giant volcano called the Thunder's Drum, which is very Horizon-y.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to help them solve the mystery of what's causing the corruption in Thunder's Drum and that sort of thing.
I mean, it does sound very Horizon. Even the corrupted machine. I'm pretty sure there was a good fair few corrupted machines in the base game.
There was.
To be honest.
Is different corruption though.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, no question. Do you feel like it's a worthy reason to get back into it? If this story and this new land, do you feel like it was worth having completed the main game and going back to it all these months after? It has been a long while since the game came out.
It has been a while, yeah. But I think it'll depend how much you really enjoyed the base Horizon game.
Yeah,
because Frozen Wilds doesn't do anything revolutionary. It is basically just more Horizon, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion, because Horizon was really good. So more of that is pretty much what you get. So.
Yeah, I mean, what's the real new additions though? I mean, I've had a look at it and I've been thinking about getting it, and I am looking at Horizon Zero Dawn as a Game of the Year contender for me, like for real. I really loved it. I'm all about kind of immersion and whatever, and I keep saying those exact words, but that's what I look for in games, and that's what I value in games, and I was completely blown away and immersed in Horizon Zero Dawn. But I've got to be honest, this hasn't really made me feel like it's worth going back just yet. I haven't been tempted to come back into it, but you have. So I'm just interested, kind of what are the new additions, what are the actual new kind of gameplay mechanics and enemies and whatnot that they've chucked in there. There's kind of specifics, that's worthy additions to the game.
First off, there's like a bunch of new gear, so new weapons, new armor, and they're very, very good. There's like a big ice cannon you can get it's called the ice rail even. And it's like kind of like a rail gun, so you have to hold it, charge it, and it's really slow, but it does massive damage when you
Sounds
hit.
a bit Monster Hunter-y, I guess.
It was kind of Monster Hunter-y, to be fair.
That's one of the big strengths of Horizon, isn't it? It's like trying to figure out how you're going to take these giant beasts down. You got to figure it out. You can't just run at them and start hitting them, because you will die.
Yes,
so
that happened to me quite a bit.
It sounds like another one of them forward planning kind of weapons.
Yeah, very much.
Anything else like that was?
Yeah, there was like you get a flamethrower that looks like a giant bagpipe, I guess.
Oh, beautiful.
It's like a big fire cannon sort of thing.
All bagpipes should be flamethrowers. I've always said that. It's an old philosophy of mine.
And then there's just like other stuff like some new bows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which are kind of like upgraded versions of the ones you get at the end of the main game. They're nothing special, but they're pretty decent. Yeah.
In terms of enemies as well, you keep talking about bears, and this is interesting me.
Okay,
what's this about?
There's two types of new machine, one called Frostclaw and one called Fireclaw, and they basically amount to what a giant robotic bears, just ice and fire versions.
Yeah.
And they are kind of brutal. They take a lot of combat to take down. They do not want to surrender easily, and they can pretty much like kill you in 2 hits.
Which, is what you want from giant robotic bears with elemental powers. This game is so silly on the surface. Like when they first revealed it, it's like, oh, robot dinosaurs, fucking hell, this is where we've got to narratively in video games now. So desperate for new ideas. They justify it in the story in a way that's kind of like, all right, cool, I like like that. But from the outside, it's like this game is about giant robotic flame bears. But it's fun. It's fucking fun to attack these things. So you've talked a bit about the weapons and the enemies and stuff. What about characters? Any interesting characters?
So like I said, there's the Banuk tribe who are heard but not seen in the base game. A lot of characters speak of the tribe in the north, and
a lot of memos and stuff like that, isn't it?
It's a lot of like background lore on them. So I think this is the first time you actually see them in the flesh. And they're very tribal, like all chieftain, like war party type sort of society going on, where you have one figurehead at the top who leads the tribe and everyone has to respect him, and then you get people who challenge him for his authority and he throws down with them, that sort of thing. There's quite a lot of new characters. I think the one who stood out to me was like a chieftain called Aratak, who he's pretty cool, like big tanky looking guy who's just like for the thrill of the hunt sort of thing.
From what I understand as well, the Silence is his name. He's pretty significant, although he's not really in it. He's
not. Silence, who is like kind of but not really the villain of the base game. He's featured in the Frozen Wilds, but you don't actually see him. It's just his voice. And you learn a bit more about his like backstory, where he came from, because they hint that he might have been like a Banuk shaman sometime long ago. But he did something to like get exiled from the tribe. I think he stole something from them. And it's like, so they flesh out his character a bit more, but it's kind of like they were setting him up for a bigger role in a sequel. I'd say.
Okay. So this is the actor. What's his name? Is Lance Reddick?
Lance Reddick. Ever reliable.
So two observations I've got about this. His voice is in it, but not his face, which tells me he had time to do some voice work, but not the face capture stuff, which means for pure practical reasons, it's only his voice. However, that's all you need. His voice is amazing. He's got an amazing sci-fi voice.
He's got that silky smooth voice.
But also kind of slightly robotic, just subtly kind of digital
methodical
quality to it. It's beautiful.
It's very good.
What a guy. He's in Destiny as well. He does a lot of voiceover stuff there. Anyway, this is completely off topic. So let's talk about the sheer kind of quantities of stuff on offer here. So it's about $15.99, isn't it, on PlayStation Store?
$15.99.
How long is it for that? Like
Guerrilla Games said there is about 15 hours of content in this.
Okay, £1 1 hour.
Yeah, so I mean, if you go for that, it's pretty good value, I guess. And I don't know, I'd say it's a fair assumption that there's about 15 hours of content if you include like all the side quests and hunting grounds and all the stuff you can do, and the main quest. I'd say there's definitely about 15 hours here. And
the actual territory is kind of just bolted onto the map, you said, to one of the existing regions. So the kind of starting area, is it? The area to the east?
So it's kind of just like off the top of the starting area. If you looked at the map and you didn't realise that this was an expansion pack, you just think it was part of a normal base game map.
Cool.
So it integrates really well into the game.
If you take the starting area from the base game as a reference point, the kind of eastern part of the map is all mountainous and a bit frosty, but not quite completely covered in snow or anything. Compared to that area, how big is it?
Probably about the same size, I reckon. It's a good decent chunk to put on there. Probably maybe a bit more condensed. It's not quite as open. It's a lot more mountainous, I reckon, and there's some of the mountains you can't climb because they're out of the game world and stuff like that.
So it's more like a bit more corridory and less sprawling and open, you'd say? Or
it's more focused on going down like tracks and getting channeled through like big snow drifts and mountains and that sort of thing.
They've been pretty excited about the snow drifts, haven't they? They think the developers themselves.
They love that snow.
I guess it's nice snow. I'll
nice
give them that. It's like the technology that they're excited about, and they keep talking about how deep this snow is and wading through the snow. Is it that good?
I mean,
or is it just snow?
They spent a lot of time on animating this snow. You could be walking, just trunching through a normal bit of snow. But then if you go into the deeper bits of the snow, like Aloy starts like trunching around, like barely being able to move. And you can have to like roll out of it. It's a lot of effort's gone into the snow.
There's your $15.99 right there, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so Frozen Wilds turns out it is pretty frozen. There's a lot of additions there. So your concluding thought here, Liam, is it worth going back to? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your money if you were a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn?
If you're a fan of Horizon, it is very much worth your time. If you don't like Horizon, don't bother, because you're not going to find anything game-changing here.
Okay, what more can you ask for there? That's a solid conclusion. We'll see you next time.